Hi, this is Mr. Cordes, and this is the week 7 video for the final project and smart thinking activity for English 353 Children's Literature. This week, ladies and gentlemen, you are putting together your draft, at least 6 pages of your draft for your final project. You have been brainstorming and kind of piecing things together over the last 2 weeks, and now it's kind of time to get that narrative as complete as possible. Do not feel pressured to stop at 6 pages. If you want to hit your 7th page or all the way up until your 9th page, that is an option as well. But we're asking that there's at least 6 full pages so that I can take a moment and review and comment and say, yes, this is fantastic. No, let's change page 2 or 3, or this paragraph is out of place. Let's move it. We really want to take the time to make sure that you guys are successful and turn in work that is quality. So that's why we go in stages. It's not simply, hey, this week you're writing a huge research analytical paper for children's literature. We want there to be a process to it. So this week you are, one, submitting your, let's see here, your draft, okay? And then you're also submitting, let's see, the smart thinking component, okay? The smart thinking item, and I'm trying to find my place, I apologize. The smart thinking should be done and submitted by day 5 so that you can get the results by day 7. I would not wait until the last minute to submit your draft, but what you want to do is you want to be able to take that information and then apply it to your final draft. So the sooner you get that in, the better. Now, looking at your draft altogether, you have gone off the prompt. Okay, there has been the list of prompts that's been given to you. There's also the component of your research, adding in your research for this. And this has been all consuming. This has been a lot for you guys. Not only are you balancing the additional reading that still has to happen, you're also doing all of this other work, research, writing, piecing it all together with the book that you have selected, with the topic that you have selected. So now, part of the smart thinking, if you go over to the sidebar under student resources, you'll notice there's the tutoring online. It's down here as well. There'll be a little place for you to submit your draft. I would suggest submitting it as a Word document and not a PDF or not as a cut and paste, but submit it as a Word document, because then the smart thinking tutors will be able to read, review, process, make changes, and then send you back a report. It's just easier that way. The purpose of this is to get a second set of eyes. You have been going over this for so long. You have been encompassed with this topic and with this idea. And so to have someone else look at your paper is going to be beneficial. Okay. That segues into my next part of this conversation is, when you submit your draft, you want to have done a thorough job of proofreading. Proofreading is where you go through your paper, you read it through so that it makes sense, that grammar is done. You've got editing components. There's a lot to it, okay? If you have passed English 113 or 123 successfully, or those equivalent composition courses, then you should do fine here. We're looking for that same level of academic rigor as far as proper MLA and APA formatting. We are looking for, quality in-text citation. We're looking for you to not just summarize your text or summarize your resources, but to analyze and interpret and infer so that you can evaluate and bring back things to your thesis statement. So here's a couple tricks and trades that I have learned throughout the years in order to help improve the proofreading process for your writing. One is you need to have someone read your paper aloud to you, okay? When someone else gets your paper and they read it back, you are able to sit back and to listen and to hear to hear the flow, to hear the grammatic tone, to find, oh my gosh, that sentence I used the personal voice. I need to take out the I think statement that I just made and remove that. Also, that other person who has not been in this same capacity will be able to sit and say, wait a second, I don't understand what you mean by that sentence. They'll be able to read and say, you know what, wait, you've got a good quote here, but you don't explain it. I see what you're saying here for this, but you don't give an example from your story. Because they are such an outside perspective, they have the opportunity to sit in and say, hey, this sentence didn't make sense for me, because they have zero knowledge. For you and I, we've been in this paper now for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and it is all consuming. Yeah, I totally know what I'm saying. Have someone else read your paper and read it aloud to you. Okay. Lots of different options. I've had people email their drafts to a friend, and they called them on the phone and was able to read through it. And they were able to say, oh, wait, stop. I got to fix that sentence. That was very awkward. Oh, wait, I didn't actually finish my thought because it's not connected to before. Those are the things that will help you. The smart thinking is going to look for grammar. It's going to look for in-text citation. It's going to tell you where things are like paraphrased or summarized rather than analyzed. The other thing that I would recommend, so one, get someone else to read your paper aloud to you. Okay, if you can do that. If you can't find anyone to read your text, to read your writing to you, what I would do is actually read your paper backwards. Now, you're not reading the sentences backwards, but you read from the bottom up, because by doing that, you break the sentences apart and you're able to just focus on one sentence. So when I teach English like 113 or 123, and I'm grading through papers, I actually go to the bottom and I work my way up, because those sentences should, grammatically speaking, should stand alone. And I'm able to say, okay, this sentence makes sense. Yes. Go to the next one. Okay, I see how it connects. So reading it backwards may be another option for you as well. The other part I'm going to recommend is that you rest your brain. Okay. It is very, even in 8 weeks, we've been going through this for like, rather quickly. Your brain needs to rest. In between day 5 and day 7, when you are turning in your smart thinking, when you turn in your draft to smart thinking on day 5, let your brain rest for like 24 hours. Don't think about it. Don't do your work. Don't even do anything else for the class. I would strongly recommend that you let your brain rest. Go be distracted by something else. Go on a field trip. Get out of the house. Like, do something. Read a different book. Watch a television show. Do something that is going to let your mind relax for a moment. So sometimes when we are reading and we're writing a paper, like we're just in it. The thing that we need to do is to step back and be able to say, okay, now that I've had a chance to process this, what am I actually trying to say? Okay. Small 30-second story. When I was writing my master's thesis, I was having a really hard time with chapter 2. It was the very first chapter that I actually started with because it had a huge chunk of the research. And I had been working on it for what felt like forever. It was probably just a couple days of intense, because I needed to get a draft to my professor by a certain time. I had been working on it. Any moment I would stop, start reading through research, start typing. And it just didn't flow. Nothing connected, nothing worked. We got to the end of the week. My brother was in town. We went, we had dinner. It was a nice interaction. Like, I got to just calm down. We came back to my house. We played board games. It was very, very casual, very low key. My brain had a chance to relax. Once he'd left, I went back to my computer because I just simply needed to close my computer. I had shut it down and saved my work and all that other stuff. And I went back to my computer and I looked at my draft and I thought, oh, I need to fix that sentence. And I fixed it. And because my brain was preoccupied, I had a chance. Then when I sat down, I was like, oh, wait, I wanted to say this. But wait, this is what I really wanted to say. And my brain had finally had a chance to almost hit restart so that I could begin to articulate what I needed to prove. So if you need 24 hours, I would suggest take it. I would suggest resetting your brain so that when you come back to it, you're like, okay, here is how I'm making sure that I answer my prompts. Oh, I understand the balance because I have so much textual evidence from my research, but not enough from the book. Okay, I didn't bring this paragraph or connect it back to my thesis. You're able to see those things because you've been preoccupied with something else. take that opportunity. Okay. It was great because once I finally got home, I started typing and I typed into the middle of the night, simply because I was on a roll and I was finally, producing what needed to be put out on paper. Okay. So take some time this week. I would also, ladies and gentlemen, double check and make sure that you've got proper MLA format, APA format. Your works cited is all done properly. OWL Purdue, if you ever go over to OWL Purdue, I'm bringing this up for you right now. The Writing Lab is a fantastic resource. You guys probably have some sort of handbook, an MLA or APA handbook from prior. This actually is one of my greatest go-to resources because they update it constantly. Pretend your draft that you are submitting for this week is your final draft. Okay, get everything, get the periods in the right spot, the commas where they need to go, double check, pretend that this is the final and you just want to be done. Okay. But this right here, OWL Purdue is a fantastic resource simply because they constantly update their website according to the new standards that APA and MLA put out. So this is not set in stone. This website morphs and changes and adjusts to all of the newest guidelines for research and writing. Okay. OWL Purdue, you guys can check it out online. All you have to do is come over here. I think, what is it? General writing. Oh, it's down over here. MLA guide and APA guide. Those are the two things that you are looking for. Okay. If you let's click on MLA. It's going to take you to all of these components. I know there's lots of websites out there where you insert all of the resource items, which is fine. You just need to double check that it's done correctly because sometimes those websites don't generate anything when in fact you do need to provide that information. Okay. So I've gone on long enough. You guys need to get started working. For this, ladies and gentlemen, simply make sure that you've got a quality draft. You've taken the time to proofread, gone through this. Please remove the personal voice. We don't want any I, me, we, us, our. It's not a Dear Diary journal moment. This is an academic research paper, and we need that academic voice, that academic tone, because it's heavily based in research and your literary analysis. Okay. Also, please make sure that you manage your time for the smart thinking. If you are done prior to day 5 and you want to submit your paper to Smart Thinking to get those results, please do so. So then that way it can come back and you can implement those and then get to move on for the next. Okay. Please email me, message me if you have any questions or concerns. We're coming down to the wire, so I do want to make sure that you guys get everything accomplished so that you guys can be successful in this class. Okay. I'll talk to you guys soon.